Sierra Oscar Foxtrot, this is 614. Status check on podcast. I'll copy over.
614, this is Sierra Oscar Foxtrot. Roger, copy all. Podcast going live. Time now.
Hello and welcome to another amazing, ostentatious episode of the Sierra Oscar Foxtrot podcast. I am your semi-lucid host, Brian Stanfill. And today with me are two amazing guests helping to fight for more lucidity in veterans, Shane and Zack. That's Shane Hawthorne and Zack Alexander. How you guys?
Good.
All right.
It's a beautiful day out here in Houston, Texas.
Muy bueno.
All right. Wow. Multicultural, multilanguage. I want to be the first to admit this. It's my first threesome.
Nice.
So, we've got that. It's taken what, like
yeah.
It's taken like 10 episodes to get to the threesome level.
It's where we are right now. So beautiful.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Don't make me blush. We'll have to work the tint and coloring on this.
Okay, darn it.
All right. So, both of you guys are veterans, and where and how are you veterans of?
I was in the U.S. Army. I served from 2006 to 2013. I was in 3rd Special Forces Group Support Battalion, and usually attached to 3rd Battalion.
Okay, 3rd Battalion. I know them. I've seen them across the hall, but, only know a few of those guys.
Okay.
So,
I was in the Marine Corps from 2006 to 2010, and I spent about a year of that in Iraq, attached to what the Marine Corps calls a Marine Transitioning Team. So we were attached to the Iraqi Army, and we got slated with the job of pushing the remaining insurgents from Iraq and trying to push them up through Syria.
okay. That sounds like that was a fun job.
Yeah, we'll call it fun.
Call it fun.
We'll call it fun.
With a capital F.
So why join up? What was your guys' motivations for that?
I grew up with a former Marine. I mean, him and my dad raised me, so it was my dad and my grandfather. So it was always in my destiny, but, I was a little rebellious through my 20s, and I decided there was a need for a change within me. I needed to do something bigger and greater in myself, so I joined 2006. Went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Then I went to AIT, and then I got to Bragg same year, and then 2 months later I was deployed. So that's really why I started to, because it's always been in my destiny, and it was time for me to man up.
Okay. Zack?
I honestly joined. I was one of those 9/11 babies. So I was in 8th grade when 9/11 happened. I grew up with, my father was a police officer. He just retired at 25 years. SWAT team, tactical, he was just a hard dude. And when 9/11 happened, it was the first time I saw him cry. Like when I got off the bus, I walked into my house, and it was right. They had the TV playing right when the people were jumping out the buildings, and it cut to the buildings collapsing. And that's when the 343 firefighters and all the different police officers who were in the building, they passed. And he was crying in the kitchen, and all he kept saying was, "There's nothing I can do. My brothers are dying, and there's nothing that I can do." And for some reason, that just had a lasting impact on me. And I can still remember it vividly to this day. And that was the day that I decided, well, he may not be able to do something, but there's something that I can do. So from 8th grade all the way through high school, I knew I wanted to be a Marine, because the question was, I want to join the military. What branch do you want to go into? Well, I want to go into the branch who's known for first to fight and last to leave. So I went to the Marine Corps.
Okay, nice. Highly motivational.
Yeah, I feed him crayons daily. He likes
the purple ones are the best. Don't let anybody lie to you. The red ones are crap.
Well, I lied to him and told him they were purple guavas. So.
Well, red's my favorite color. I always thought it would taste like strawberries.
It doesn't.
Well, obviously, the the discussion of crayons were going to come into this conversation. I mean,
Yeah.
inevitable.
We beat you to the punch.
Yeah.
That's cool, as being the Marine, I think it's right. It's fitting. You should definitely talk about the crayons. So you guys are in. Was it what you expected as far as being in the military prior to, your thoughts going into it, fantasies and then reality?
Honestly, I had a family by then, and we were kind of in the low end of the totem pole, so I really wasn't expecting anything. I was old, I was 26 too, so I was, just riding it out. And by the time I got there, I was pretty blessed to get as a truck driver to be with group. So moving forward there, I think it was right up my alley because it was big boy rules, and they treat you with respect and where respect is due, and you talk to each other like grown men. And I think that's what I needed. I used to drive by a Gruber and look at the deuce and be like, golly, if I was one of them young cats getting screamed, I don't know if I could have done that, especially at the age and what I had seen in life already at 26. So it wasn't nothing like I expected.
Yeah.
And like I said, I got to do some cool things as a truck driver, really. And it was a lot of fun, but there was a lot of, how you guys roll. So there's a lot of crazy moments too.
Sure. Makes for great war stories.
Yes.
So man, when I was in Iraq, I was 18 years old when I was in Iraq. I was a snot-nosed punk ass kid who all I cared about up until that point, and all I knew was, I'm from a small town in Texas, so it was Friday night lights, football, women, and weed. That's all I cared about in life. That's all I knew. I lived in a safety bubble. So when I got to Iraq, I thought I knew what I was asking for. I joined for war. I joined for combat. I joined to go over there. And, as we always say, want some, come get some, kill. Like, I joined for that. But Hollywood has a way of glorifying war and glorifying the loss of life in a way that that's not how it is in real life. And so I definitely wasn't prepared. There were a lot of good times. I had some fun, but there were some situations that as an 18-year-old kid, it changes you forever, and it changes not just who you are, but it completely changed my just war belief system. It changed the way I think. It changed the way I behaved. It changed the way I perceive life. So I was not prepared for what I got myself into once I got to Iraq.
I see. Yeah. So you had a pretty steep learning curve once you got there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could only imagine, you go back to the movie Black Hawk Down, and the guy's just sitting on top there, and he's like, "Sergeant Major, they're firing at us." And the guy's like, "Well, shoot back."
Exactly.
That's right. Don't be that private. Shoot back.
Yep.
Don't be the guy that needs to be told to fire back.
Exactly. Oh, so I'm sure there was a lot of close calls. Maybe I don't know. It's what were some of the fun times you had over there?
There was some fun time. We were hitting, I got to roll out with B-23, so we were hitting Solder City and, driving them boys in there. And then we get out, we scan. I was scanning the alleyway. I actually looked into this alleyway room. It was just like a curtain. There was women and children sleeping in there. And I curved right, and I'm looking up and, scanning the rooftops. And then I come around, and the Echo with the Iraqi commandos comes around, and all lasers are pointing on my chest, and I'm like, what is going on? Hey.
Yeah.
And so right about that time, dude comes up, and we were playing the circle game. Remember the 8th grade circle game? So
yeah.
We're playing this mission, hitting each other with the circle game. He throws a flashbang, and boom, there's the hit. So it was snatch and grab and put in my vehicle and take back. So it was a funny but yet scary moment at the same time. But that's kind of what I got into, anyways. Addicted to the adrenaline pump. But it was comical to see about 40 lasers pointed at my chest, like, what is going on tonight? So
Oh yeah.
that was a good time.
And I was saying, like, we no shit there we put some of our guys up on a hilltop to do some observation. And we told our partner force, we was like, hey, Americans up there, don't shoot at them. Sure enough, you get, oh, hey, there's somebody up there. And they start shooting away. And I get on the radio, hey, they're shooting at us. Make them stop. So, so you go from calm, cool, collected into like violent, like, get the hell off the guns.
Yeah.
There's our guys up there, stop shooting at them. But no harm, no foul, I guess.
Nope.
Yeah, so talk about Philly. So as far as our MIT went, like there was maybe 12, 13 of us on this one team attached to literally the Iraqi army. So part of what we were doing, we weren't just we were chasing the remaining insurgents, trying to push them through Syria, but during this deployment, we're also having to train the Iraqi army. Now, luckily for us, a couple missions that we ran, we had some Iraqi special forces attached to us, and those were some pretty shit hot dudes. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they knew what they were doing. But it was the times that we weren't with them, and it was just the army. I could go on for hours about the close calls that we had with these Iraqi army numbnuts, not understanding the flag rule, not understanding muzzle awareness, not understanding, hey, this is unsafe, this is not safe. Hey, your weapon is actually loaded right now. You should probably not point it at the instructor who's trying to teach you how to do these, breach and clear drills. Like there were so many breach and clear drills that I'm glad I was not a part of them. I was actually in the background watching, because if I had been a part of them, I would have shot somebody, because those dudes. Eventually, they got their crap together. Eventually, we found our small select few who finally figured it out. But I think my butthole puckered just as much training them dudes as it did whenever we were out running missions. Like it was fun, but yes, like he said, the adrenaline rush of just doing that was, dear Lord.
Oh yeah,
it was fun times.
Save me.
Fun times.
So, you guys got out, and how did you guys meet up?
So how we met up, it's through a hell of a spiritual journey, I would say. When I got out, and I ended up getting out with some funky things in my corner, so I had to face that and deal with that and move forward. But I became homeless, addicted, and addicted to drugs and alcohol. Just not a purpose, I was just lost. It was like almost like the war came home with me, and I was continuing, rolling the streets of Houston with a wife and two kids with you. I can't even explain the mental chaos and just the total chaos of it all. If you ever slept under a bridge in Houston with your wife and two children, which I'm still married after 20 years, and my sons still love me. So, moving forward, 2016, I was facing 2 to 10 in the penitentiary for some things, and in that jail cell is where I ended up meeting my higher power, which is known as God, and he started talking to me. And moving forward, I went to Camp Hope, ended up graduating. When I graduated, I became a mentor, and then I became the lead mentor, and then I became the program manager of Camp Hope to give back. God was telling me to remain humble and walk in humility, but you got 90 plus dudes in a constant flow of 6 months that you have to lead, and you're the dude to lead them. So God placed us together. We met, and it was either we were going to fight or we were going to get along. And we ended up, he's one of the best friends I've never had in my life. He's a true accountability partner, safe person. And, we're about to go on the spiritual retreat together. So we've been together for what, 4 years? 5 years. And so, our families are family, and that's what we teach at Camp Hope, and just here in our PTSD journey is to flock with your tribe, because once we get away from our tribe, we tend to get lost. Mm-hmm. And to get back to other guys that are in the darkness and be strong enough and have enough courage to pull them out the darkness. it was kind of funny in my journey. It wasn't, I say funny, but that's the laughter and the pain. But a guy that helped me out when I was homeless ended up in the darkness is real. PTSD is real, and he helped me out, and then I didn't even realize he was hurting. And he shot himself, and he was a third group guy, and it really saddened me at first, but it also told me what would he want me to do? Lay it down and stick a needle in my arm again, or would he want me to stand up and fight? And that's what I do in the spiritual world with Zack as my right hand man, my partner, and we go fight the devil in the world and pull our guys to safety. So that's really how we met.
Yeah. Zack, how did your journey end up at Camp Hope?
Oh, well, when I got back from Iraq, I ended up getting married and having a daughter. I ended up getting sent on the second deployment right after she was born. And so when I came back from that deployment, it was either re-enlist or get out. Well, I tried to lat move. I tried to go EOD, and my platoon gunnery sergeant, me and him never got along. It's a story for another day, but I ended up not being able to re-enlist or lat move due to decisions on his part. So when I got out, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I knew I wanted to be a firefighter because I'd watched a show called Rescue Me, and for some reason it made firefighting look like a really cool job. And I was like, well, if I can't be a Marine anymore, I might as well go do that. So I was registered. I was enlisted in the Fire Academy EMT school before I even got out. But when I got out, I was a complete shell of a human being. My daughter was about 4 to 5 months at this time. And a lot of my trauma from Iraq comes from situations that involve children. Mm-hmm. Combat's hell, but after about a month over there, you understand your job and you understand what you have to do to come home and to bring your men home safe. But it was the situations with children that really stuck with me. So dealing with my daughter was really hard, and so I couldn't build a connection with her. I definitely couldn't build a connection with my wife because at that time we were two completely different people than when we first got married. And so I dove really hard into drugs and alcohol to self-medicate. And eventually she had enough. I came home to my apartment completely empty with nothing but a TV and an Xbox. And the thought of never seeing my daughter again, it took me to a very dark place. And I decided that day that if this is how life was going to feel, well, then I no longer wanted to live anymore. So I was extremely suicidal. But luckily for me, my father knew something was going on, and he tricked my ex-wife into giving her my weapon. So I had no weapon, nothing to do it with. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll just let the universe do it for me. So I dove real hard into drugs, alcohol, just put myself in situations hoping the universe would just take me out. And it wasn't until I, came to at a dope house trying to overdose when God really spoke to me. Because my parents raised me to believe in Christ. They raised me as a Christian, but Iraq really put a damper on my viewpoints towards God. And but he spoke to me, and I remember him telling me that if I were to commit suicide and do what I'm trying to do, the pain and the darkness that I was trying to escape from would not just go away. It would get transferred to my daughter, and she had to live with that. And so I couldn't accept that. So I reached out to my dad. My dad called the PTSD Foundation because apparently my grandparents at the time went to church with the man who started the foundation, and they've been trying to get me help for a while. I never knew. Well, they sent somebody down. He came scooting me up from the dope house. I went and I detoxed, and I started going to warrior groups. It's what we call our support groups for combat vets. And this is back before Camp Hope even existed. So once Camp Hope actually started, they reached out to me like, hey, you'd be a perfect candidate. And I was like, man, I really have nothing else going on for me. I'm homeless. I'm couch surfing. The only income I have is from the bartending job that I have, and I just use those paychecks for more drugs and alcohol anyways. Like, why? Sure. And so once I started going through this program called Camp Hope, that's where I was really able to get a grip on my PTSD, figure out what was wrong with me. Now, I didn't get it right at the first time. It took me 4 times to get through this program. I got kicked out 3 times. They kicked me out the first time because I refused to give up my pistol, because back then I was batshit crazy and you weren't going to catch me without my pistol on me. Then I was sneaking in drugs, and then I was sneaking in women. So it took me a while to get my crap together, but eventually I got it together. I started to work for the program. Then me and the guy who created it, we kind of came into a spiritual fallout. My faith in Christ was reestablished, and I wasn't going to be removed from that foundation. And we had some miscues with each other in alignment, and they ended up firing me. So when I went off to the oil field, went back to the fire department for a little while, and that's when my old mentor, who got me through Camp Hope, who mentored me through, he called me and wanted me to come back and work for them, to which I laughed in his face. I was like, I ain't going back there. You're crazy. Right. But the conversation, guy had another conversation with me, and what he asked me was, you want your plan or you want mine? Just remind yourself what happens when you choose yours. And so I said, fine. I started volunteering for a little bit. I told him I would not take a paycheck. You're not going to tell me what I can or can't say. I'm only going to volunteer. That's it. And then the next thing I know, I'm in a staff meeting as a mentor, me and a guy named Shane Hawthorne, listening to his little Shane-isms about dusting cupboards, and you got to dust your cupboards, and if the cupboards are dusted, you got to put your cup on the inside, then your campfire's got to be at the right temperature, or else life's going to suck, and when it sucks, you got to bring it all together. Thinking, what is wrong with this dude? I'm going to fight this man. Like, we're going to fight. And then next thing you know, we just clicked, and we've been together ever since.
I don't know. Shane, does that seem like an accurate impersonation of you?
It does. I
Yes,
enjoy the kick out of it, but also 3 days later, he's the young man that's like, I get it.
Yeah.
I understand what he's saying.
He would pull me to the side, and we had these 30-minute conversations. And then at the end, he just like, so I want you to marinate on that for a little bit. And he'd walk away. I'm like, what the fuck did this dude just say to me? Like, what? I could write a book with all the different, I call them Shane-isms. I can make it on a goat wagon, I tell you what. He just has all these, but then like 3 days later, it'd be like, oh, that's what he was talking about. Okay. But it takes me a while, because sometimes I'm just like, dude, listen, stop.
Well, so we got to be fair here. So we've got to have some Zack-isms. There's got to be some Zack-isms.
Zack-isms. I don't think I have any Zack-isms.
Oh, come on. There's got to be something.
Yeah, I don't do that with him. I mean, I'm the older gentleman, and he, he's a little wiser, and he does his little kitty stuff next to him. He talks about Shane-isms, and I call them proverbs, but he can call them Shane-isms. But yeah, he's that's how we met in a way too, where we went to this Toastmasters, and we get up, and I'm still fresh off of my recovery, so it was about a whiskey bottle and a newspaper, and I was like, I got it. And I got up there, and I totally just Ricky Bobbied it. I was like, what am I doing?
He literally said this. They tell us it's an improv speech. So Toastmasters is to teach you how to be a public speaker, how to take your stories, how to articulate it well. So one of the exercises was they gave us 3 items. You have an empty travel whiskey bottle, you have a magazine, and I forget what the other thing was. He goes, but you have these 3 items. Get up and give us a speech about it. He all confidently, I got this, and he gets up and goes in front of everybody. He's standing there. He's like, yeah. So I got my whiskey bottle, and I got the magazine. And you know what? I don't even know why I'm up here right now. And so I'm like, I got this.
He killed it.
And then I got up there and we swapped, and
so it's kind of what we do, peer to peer with us too. Is he helps me build my weaknesses, and I build his weaknesses. We don't pick them apart. We make each other stronger. That's what we do every day with each other, and that's what he was good at, was just spitting off random, whiskey bottles and newspapers, and I'm good at other things like Shane-isms. And but that's how we clicked, was just feeding off of each other's weaknesses, really.
That's
Bettering
awesome.
each other.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome to have such a mesh, a clique of 2 personalities that come together and really supportive.
Yes, sir.
So let's see here. So the organization that you are working for and with is the PTSD Foundation of America? America. So tell me about that guy.
So our foundation, it does a lot, right? So we have what's called Camp Hope, which is our residential program for combat vets with PTSD. It's a 6 to 8 month program. It's a program that we went through. It's pretty much a step-by-step process to take a guy who's never dealt with this combat PTSD and it gives them a safe environment to be open and vulnerable about it, while taking it step by step, right? Because I mean, we're military. We need structure. We need to be told how to do things. We need steps. Step 1 through step 11. We have a combat trauma healing manual that we work out of that literally breaks it down Barney style on how to safely walk through your trauma and how to address it, and then learn healthy coping skills to handle your triggers once you leave the program. But we also have chapters across the country. So we have one in Arizona, we have one in California, one in Georgia. We have 3 here in Texas. We have us, which is Houston. We have Dallas. We have San Antonio. And we're eventually going to move into Florida as soon as we have the opportunity to open up to that. And so what the outreach chapters do is we're more pre-care, aftercare. So we take the guys who we branch out throughout the community. We find the combat vets who need us. And for the ones who really need a program, right? Like say we have some substance abusers. Well, we have a lot of partnerships with some hospitals and some rehabs that will help get the toxins out of their body, because you can't really focus on your trauma if you're still if you're not in a sober mindset. So they get all the toxins out, they get their minds right, and then they go through our program. We also have the guys who don't need a 6 to 8 month program, who they have a job, which is also what our foundation does. So once you graduate through our program, we have a transition phase. And so with transition, we help you get your finances together. We help you fix your credit. We help you build a budget. If you need a vehicle, we'll help you get a vehicle. And if you need a job, we'll help you get a job. If you need a place to live, we'll help you get everything that you need to sustain yourself outside of the program and be a contributing member of society. But you also have the guys who don't need that. They have all that. They just need somewhere to go to digress, get their minds right, reset for the week, or just spend some time with some other, combat vet brothers who they can sit and, shoot the shit and, bullshit with, who are like-minded individuals. So we have our location here in Tomball, and that's what we do. So they can come here. We've got about 2.5 acres out back. We got a fire pit, a pond that they can fish in, and we just hang out all day. We got some couches and some really cool leather recliner chairs that Mattress Matt gave us. And it's just a healthy, safe environment for them to come and just spend some time with other like-minded individuals. And then we also connect them to other resources. We got Simplify Fund, Chad Robichaux, who is the founder of Mighty Oaks. He's here in Houston now, right? We take our guys to go do jujitsu with us, like anything that can help these gentlemen and ladies. We also partner with some female organizations that do what we do, but just for the female combat vets, and just to give them a way to cope and to process through their week and to continue living a sustainable life. And then once they graduate the program, that's where the aftercare comes into play. So we don't just want to take these guys who got their mind right, they got a stable, healthy foundation, and then just send them back to the same toxic environment that they just left with no support, right? So once we send them back to where they go, a lot of guys don't even go back home. We have a bunch of guys that are sitting right there in our living room right now. It's the black phase guys from our program, which is the black phase is the first 30 days. So they're fresh out of the toxic environment. They're fresh into this new. They're real vulnerable. They're real. They're willing to work a program. So we bring them over here so that we can give them some different perspectives from some guys who've gone through it all. But we also, we connect resources. We help them stay connected to their support system so that they can continue to utilize the tools that they learn at Camp Hope and not feel like they're back in their toxic environment with no support, because that's how a relapse happens. That's how the suicidality end up coming back into play, the negative thoughts. If they don't have any support system, they're just going to go right back to what they were doing. Like you asked me what Zack is, and so one of the things I always say is if you want to be somebody different, you have to do things differently. Right, you can't continue to do the same things you've always done and expect to be a different person. Yeah. Right. So you have to change everything about who you are, not just who you are, but in recovery, we call it people, places, and things. As a former addict and a recovering addict, I have to change those things about myself. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go right back to doing the same things I've always done. So we want to be able to create this environment for them so that they're not in a mindset where they feel this is all I can do. There's no support. I have no help. So I'm just going to jump back to my comfort zone because that's all I know. And then next thing you know, right, they're relapsing or they're wanting to put a pistol in their mouth again. So we want to negate all of that. So that's in a nutshell what our foundation does.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'll tell you what. See, right. Let's see if I can get my finger correct. How about this way? Let's go that way. Yes. There we go. There. Bam. Website. Right there. Yep. Right above your heads. You might not see it now, but you will. Yep. Right there. Bam. Well, now you're just flexing. Okay. I see that. You're just
Is
flexing.
it over that way? Or maybe that way?
Now I know the beach is not too far from you.
Nope.
You can't even call Galveston a beach.
Nah.
I mean, it is a beach, but like that's where the cartel drops off bodies and shit. So we literally just got done having a flesh-eating bacteria in that water.
Yeah.
It ain't no beach.
What?
Galveston is
Takes care of all the bodies that get dumped off.
Yeah, it
That makes
does.
sense.
I would not get in that water.
They put it in there on purpose.
Damn.
Well, speaking of which, did you know Houston, Texas is only 46 feet off the sea level?
I did not know
No.
that.
Oh, yeah, that's a factoid. Bam. Factoid just dropped. You
So
know,
what you're saying is we're almost under the sea.
I'll tell you what. I mean, you got 7 million people hanging out with you guys. Anymore,
That's pretty-
anymore, it's gonna sink. You're gonna start sinking. I'm worried about you. Just saying.
We right into this. So what's a pirate's favorite letter?
R.
You think it's the R, but really it's C.
Hey, we go back and forth with dad jokes.
Love the dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
Oh, we're
are
full.
awesome. Yeah.
Well, just a quick rundown. I am supporting and representing Veteran Harbor. We have our own website, www.veteranharbor.com, where we currently are supporting the Robert Lee Project, which is a project to where we have purchased a house from a Mr. Robert Lee who has lost a lot in order to support him and rebuild his house. And in return, he will be the permanent landlord and purveyor of the people who will be going through the Veteran Treatment Court for Harnett County, their programs. So people who made the wrong choices, getting out or just having trouble and just made a mistake, got caught up by the law, and now have the abilities to get into the program similar to your guys' programs. And I think actually some do go to your program. And at least this gives them a place to stay. So we're trying to help out. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and if you like golf, as I'm sure some people do.
We're not.
I like to play it, but I'm not good at it.
Well, it's not about being good. I
We're
mean,
called Dr. Mulligan for a reason.
Yeah.
I'll say this.
We didn't even have a trophy for the tournament.
Dead-ass last place.
Dead ass last.
I got
place.
4 of them.
I once went and I was telling a buddy, I was like, yeah, man, I shot an 89. And everybody's like, what? Wow. I'm like, yeah, that was the first 9 holes. So I thought I was doing great. Yes. But so we have a golf tournament coming up June 4th over at Carolina Lakes. You can get on the Veteran Harbor website and sign up. You can become a sponsor if you wish. Or if you just want to give us some money, we could always use it for a good cause, like the Robert Lee Project. So just go ahead and go to the website. You'll see the links right there. And come on out. Hit that white little ball. Boop. Boop. No, but that's the whole point of this platform, is definitely to support not just Veteran Harbor, but other people out there trying to do great things for those in need. And then I just try to have fun with it. Now, here's a concerning thing, and and tell me if this is true. I mean, so not to put it, not comparing apples to oranges, but so my wife, she used to smoke, right? And even to this day, she's quit long, 13 years now, she's quit. But if you start talking about it, she says, that urge is there.
Mm-hmm.
It's always in the background, deep in the recess of the mind, saying, yeah, let's get one. So is it the same? I mean, is there always something in the back there just nagging, just if keep it caged up?
Always, every day, and that's what I explain to these guys that we lead. We're just a little bit further in recovery than you. That's it. But we're willing to fight. Like I said, a man standing with his piece in his hand, looking back, my wife and kids were starving, and I was the culprit. Seeing humility in that way was crushing, but yet freeing in the same aspect. So I tell him every day. Every day I drive by this trailer at Camp Hope. When you first get to Camp Hope, you're like, oh shit, I'm back in the same predicament. But really, when you get on the campus, it's very nice. But there's this one trailer down the road, and I have that thought driving home. Boy, I kick that door in. I go in there and steal all their dope, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's the immediate what I started to practice at Camp Hope in the campfire era, to not talk perversely all the time, because my thoughts become my words become my actions, and my actions become my destiny and who I am, and that's what happens. And if I continue to talk like that, I've learned to redirect it real quick. Like, no, you take your sorry ass home. You got wife and kids waiting on you, and it's just a real quick. And I had to practice that like every day. So basically, Camp Hope is 5 acres. It's 5 acres of training ground, and that's what we end up practice. You can practice everything right there, from losing your shit, right, to sadness, to happiness, and learning how to, cope and deal with it. And I had a lot of ailments I was dealing with, and after 5 different separate tours, from 4 of Afghanistan and 1 Iraq, I had a lot of stuff going on here that I haven't got help with. So it was like, and I'm real spiritual as far as warrior goes. So I continue to look at this like fighting the battle, and putting my kid on every day. And that's what it was. I had to hone in on what was I actually working on. And I would move forward, like say it was anger, and I would move forward a little bit, and then I would get uncomfortable to the point where I had to back up. It was almost like shooting an azimuth and then shooting a back azimuth. And then all of a sudden, my recovery became like, uh, you know, talking guns. That's what it is now. So yeah, it's a constant every day. I have to practice darn near every 2 seconds, because that thought will come. I mean, it's thoughts, they come. And boy, do we have some crazy thoughts. So it's redirection with me, to redirect it, and then call on my higher power right then. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I repeat that, and repeat and repeat. So
Yeah.
That's what has helped me with that. But yeah, the answer to your question is, it is true. There's always that urge. I still can't get rid of my dip. I used to fall asleep with it out in Afghanistan, and I'll do it I fall asleep, wake up at 2 o'clock, and I've been clean this over 5 years, so I pop one back in and go back to sleep, and that's my last crutch, and I want to end up quitting that down the line. But for right now, in this low time of 5 years, it has helped me, as far as that goes, because quitting dipping, boy, that's harder than quitting the dope that I was smoking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it pops in every day, and like Zach said earlier, that's what we train ourselves to do, and train these men to do, is to change the way you think. Just redirect it real quick. You think it's some dumb things over here, redirect it to it. It's almost like character defects and assets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I try to strive by every day, and teach these men too. But it's a struggle.
Yeah.
Every day it's a fight.
So now Camp Hope, you guys stay there like on a regular basis, weekly, or?
We used to. So back when we worked in program, that's what we did. I actually lived on site. So did he with his family, back in the day. But now that we're the outreach team, we don't spend a lot of time at Camp Hope. Every once in a while, we'll go in and lead a Bible study, or to help lead a class. Shane sponsors some guys down there, so he'll go and do step work with them. But our AO, man, we're all of Houston, so we're everything north of here all the way up to what's closer to us than what is to Dallas. We're all the way as west as Austin. We're all the way whatever's closer to us than San Antonio, and everything else around it. So we spend a lot of time on the road. We spend a lot of time just canvassing our community. So we're at Camp Hope every once in a while. We don't spend a lot of time there anymore. But yes, the staff there does. So the mentors and the managers of Camp Hope, they actually live on site. So that it's just easier that way. And working for a nonprofit, you don't make a lot of money, so it's financially a lot more stable to live on site. Plus, it gives you the ability to spend more time with the residents, and to be there if something ever happens. So
Okay. Well, awesome. Well, I think we're pretty much good to go on this. Any other things you guys want to talk about?
You did say a factoid, so I found one.
Oh, okay.
And it was the Great Wall of China. Allegedly, you can see it by definition in Wikipedia from the moon or whatever, but really you can't. You'd have to have 17,000 greater sight than 2020 to see it. So there's my factoid.
There we go. It was a lie the whole time.
That was lying. I knew it.
Did you also know that 67% of statistics are made up?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's also like 51% of seagulls are gay.
It's true.
It's also like it
That's
works
a fact.
60%
That's a
of the
scientific
time,
fact.
Yeah.
all the time.
That's a scientific fact.
Well, that's all we got for today's episode of the Sierra Oscar Foxtrot podcast. And yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys coming on. It was good to get to know you.
Yeah, thank you.
And you know, like, follow, subscribe if you like what you saw here. If you don't like what you saw, well, like, follow, and subscribe, and maybe the next one will be better. You know, I'm just saying. Could be.
Exactly.
I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Please like and follow so you can stay in the know for the next one.